What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another edition of the Quick Bricks NBA DFS podcast. This will be episode number 4. As you know, I'm Sean. It's Wednesday. We have 11 games on tap for the NBA slate tonight. Quite a bit of games. Last night we had 3 games. Had 2 lineups go over 300. Had 1 hit for 304 and 1 hit for 317.5. Needed Jokic to play that fourth quarter, and it probably would have been a pretty damn good night for me, but that's just how it happens sometimes. If you were in the SD Slack chat, then you saw what I was playing. Had some other guys show some pretty nice scores in the Slack chat. So, anyways, tonight let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna try to get this 11 games in hopefully in around 20-21 minutes. I'm gonna see if I can beat my time. So, Dallas at Atlanta. Dallas coming in as a road favorite by 1 point. We got a 234 total. This should be a good game to stack right here. DeAndre Jordan should have a monster game at 8K. I like Trae Young, obviously, at 7.2 going against ZSJ. I told you guys he's not the greatest on defense, so I'll be playing some Trae Young. We saw what he did last game, put up a monster game, had a 60-burger. So Taurean Prince, I think at 6.5 is another great look. He's taken 15 or more field goals in all three of his games, 36 and 43.5 fantasy points in 2 of his last 3. I think if you want to go cheap, you can look at Omari Spellman coming back at 3.8. He just played 24 minutes, put up 20.8 fantasy points. So, looks like Jeremy Lin's going to sit out. Not Jeremy Lin. Fuck him. He sucks. But Alex Lin is going to be sitting out tonight from what I'm seeing. It looks like Dwayne Dedmon is coming back, but who knows how much he'll play. He has some kind of weird fucked up injury himself, so I'm not really sure his status. So Omari Spellman is a good look there. For some value for Dallas, I think you can look at Wes Matthews again. A couple guys got on him 2 nights ago. When I gave that out, he did very well. I would get back on him at 5.2K. His price is still very, very manageable. Dwight Powell at 5.0 has been playing very well for Dust Dirk, if you want to call him. 17 minutes last game. Well, actually, he's had 16, 17, and 17 minutes, and he's put up 26.3, 30.5, and 27 fantasy points. So, obviously, well over the 1.2 to 1.3, fantasy points per minute there. If you're into that sort of thing, he's playing very well. I was looking yesterday; his usage is very good for the minutes that he's getting. So Dwight Powell, I wouldn't, he's a very nice value. I'd rather see him cheaper than 5K. You're obviously paying a pretty decent penny there for him for 17 minutes, but if you need it, he's there. Moving on, Brooklyn at Cleveland. 229 on the total, Cleveland -3. I don't really like a whole lot in this game, honestly. I like LeVert at 6.8. I like Spencer Dinwiddie at 5.6. Joe Harris at 4.6. Joe Harris has been getting good run, man. He's 4.6K. He's put up 32 plus in 2. Or he's gotten 32 minutes or more in 2 out of 3 games, and he's put up over 30 fantasy points twice. So, very nice return on that salary right there. If you want to look at Joe Harris, I like it. For Cleveland, you can look at Larry Nance at 4.6. Even Tristan Thompson at 5.3. Obviously, we know Brooklyn's been getting demolished by centers. I like those 2 guys. You can even look at C.D. Osman. Everybody's going to be looking at Kevin Love. I don't hate it, but I just don't know. That's really all I care about in that game, to be flat out honest. Jordan Clarkson's not a bad look if you want to go there. New York Knicks at Miami. I think this is going to be a sneaky stack here. Got 223 on the total. Miami's an 8.5 point home favorite. Some might say that Miami might be not worth playing, being almost a 9-point home favorite, but I think there's still some value to have in this game. Obviously, New York Knicks, you're going to go with your regulars. You're going to go with THJ at 6.8, Canner at 7K. It maybe even throw in a Trey Burke here and there at 5.7. Don't hate it. Not my favorite play. We know Miami's virtually been one of the best teams against point guards for the last 3 years. For Miami, Dragic at 6.2. He's put up 30.5 fantasy points in 2 of 3. Or actually, he's put up 30.5 or more in his last 3 games. Sorry about that. I like Dwayne Wade at 4.8. He's put up 27.8 and 32.8 in his last 2 games. He's getting decent minutes. He's rested. He should be good to go. Josh Richardson at 6.5. The other night we played Middleton for the Bucks against New York, and he put up a really good game. So Jay Rich at 6.5, don't hate it. He's put up 35.3 and 46.6 in 2 of 3. So he's putting up really good numbers. His price is up there. You can even look at Rodney McGruder. I'm sorry. Rodney McGruder. It's hard to not look at this guy at 4.9. He's put up 41.5 and 42.3 in his last 2 games. Where did he come from? Who the hell knows? But anyway, he's put up some really nice numbers going up against the Knicks, who's not a very great defensive team. So you can look there. That's really all that I'm going there. Move right along to Minnesota at Toronto. There's no line on this game at the current moment. I really don't like a whole lot. Obviously, the 2 stars are going to be guarding each other. Butler's going to get Kawhi. Kawhi's going to get Butler. That could be really good for fantasy because those 2 guys are the biggest usage guys on their team. I don't hate it. Now that the more that I think about it, I think maybe you can use them. But obviously, we know that they're both elite defenders. So if you want to play if you want to play defenses, it doesn't matter. Then you can definitely play Butler or Kawhi. They're both priced up very high. So do as you want. KAT at 8.2, don't hate it. Lowry, I really like Lowry at 7.6. He's put up some really good numbers so far, and his price really hasn't moved. 45.3, 33, 55.3, and 48 fantasy points in his 4 games so far. He's put up over 40 on average there, so I like some Lowry. If you want to go cheap, you can look at my boy Dan Green again at home. I mentioned this on the last one, and nobody played him, so play Danny Green. 4.4. He's put up 27 or more in 3 of 4 games so far, 27 fantasy points. So 4.4, very nice return. Josh Okogie at 3.4. It looks like Wiggins is going to be out. Not really sure what's going on with Wiggins, but it looks like he's questionable. He might be out. Looks like Okogie is going to be the one that's going to get all of his minutes at 3.4K. So do not overlook Okogie at 3.4K. And that's really all I care about in that game. Moving right along, Charlotte at Chicago. 231 on the total. Charlotte comes in as 3.5-point favorite, and this is going to be your roster monster. I hate to do it. I hate to be square, but if Kemba doesn't kill these guys, then he needs to. I don't know. Play Kemba. Kemba 8.4. I also really like Batum at 5.5. I think that he's very cheap tonight. He could literally put up a really good game against these Bulls. That's really all I'm looking at for Charlotte, to be flat out honest. I like Batum and I like Kemba. Those are my 2 favorites. They're the 2 usage monsters on these teams, and I think they both have a really good chance to have good games. For Chicago, Levine is, obvious. He's 7.4. He's had 41 or more fantasy points in all 3 of his games so far. Obviously, you can also look at, I think Justin Holiday at 4.5 is very nice. He put up 34.5 in their only home game so far, and that's by far his highest fantasy point total so far on the year. He's getting starter minutes, so I would play him at 4.5 minutes. I don't know if he's getting starter minutes, but he's getting good minutes. Blakeney at 3.3. We know Dunn is out for 4 to 6 games, 4 to 6 weeks, I believe, maybe. I don't know. I read it, but he's got an MCL sprain, so he's back out again. Looks like Payne will probably get that start again. And Blakeney at 3.3, monster value. Move right along. That's all I really care about in that one as well. Utah at Houston. Harden loves to play the Jazz for some reason. I do not know why. And his usage should be even higher tonight, considering CP3 is out. Harden at 11.4. If you can fit it, go for it. Also look at Eric Gordon at 5.8. He should probably get the start. We know mainly he had his bigger games last year whenever Harden was out. I don't know. Gordon at 5.8, I don't hate it. You can also look at Gerald Green. He got 21 minutes last game with CP3 out, and he's 3.5K tonight. He's definitely a very nice punt there. For Utah, Donovan Mitchell really hasn't showed me anything on the road yet. I can't go there. Obviously, this is, it's really not a high total game. It's 219. It's one of the lower ones on the board. Ingles at 6.7. He's been balling, man. Joe Ingles been balling. Jay Crowder, 4.8, 36.8 and 26 in his last two fantasy point totals. So that's, Jay Crowder has been playing well. Indy at San Antonio, 211 on the total, lowest total on the board, I believe. 2.5 for San Antonio at home. I don't like a lot. I like Vic Oladipo, I like Sabonis, I like DeRozan, and I like LMA. That's all I really literally care about in that game. Low total, I don't really like it. Philadelphia at Milwaukee. You got Philadelphia on a true back-to-back here with no Simmons. They played almost a double OT game last night. So we saw what Blake Griffin did to them last night. What do you think Giannis will do to them tonight? I would hate to say this, but I could definitely see the Sixers getting off to a very slow start, and I could really see Milwaukee getting a very, very quick lead. With that said, I'm not going to go balls to the wall in this game, but I will have a Giannis somewhere. I also really like Bledsoe. If you watched the game last night, you saw Ish Smith and Reggie Jackson. They just tore him up at the point guard spot. Bledsoe at 6.7 is a good look. I really like Malcolm Brogdon tonight at 5.1. I think he's definitely a good look, cheaper look. Obviously, if you're into playing the Sixers, Embiid obviously at 10.1. Don't know if you want to pay that for him tonight. I mean, back to back here. It played a lot of minutes. So I would look at Amir. I would look at Amir at 3.4. I might play some Sarge at 6.1. I obviously would play some Redick at 5.5. But other than that, yeah, I'm probably gonna not be on this game near as much. So Lakers at the Phoenix. Here's one of your chalk stacks. This one and Washington and Golden State. Although I do believe you're going to have to play these guys, they're going to be chalky. Obviously, LBJ is in a magnificent spot, but he is 11.1K. Kuzma at 6.9. His price went way up. Hart at 5.8. Ball at 6.3. The last three are pretty manageable. LBJ, he's up there. You got 235 on this total, though. It's one of the higher totals on the board. For Phoenix, I think you obviously got to look at Booker at home. The guy usually tends to show out at home. I think he's fairly cheap for the usage that he's going to get. I also like T.J. Warren. He's only 4.8. He's been coming alive. I think you can look at Trevor Ariza even at 5.3. I'm not playing the centers in this game. If you like Ayton, I don't hate it, but JaVale McGee is a mountain. So it's up to you. That's really all I like in that game. It's going to be chalky. So anyway, Memphis at Sacramento. I think this game has a lot of value. I know Sacramento playing on a double-double as well. But if you know Sacramento, all these kids are like 19 through 25. They're young. Their whole team is young. So I like Buddy Hield. I like Frank Mason again. Frank Mason put up 36 fantasy points last night for me at 3.5K or 3.7K. If you were in the SD Slack chat, you knew I liked Frank Mason. I'll probably play him again tonight. He's just too fucking cheap. Bagley at 4.8. He's been getting good run. He had another good game last night. You can even play Willie Cauley-Stein at 5.6. He's fucking cheap. All these guys are cheap. 5.5, 3.5, 4.8, and 5.6. The Kings are cheap. And that's because of who they're playing. They're playing Memphis, and I get that. But I think there's a lot of value on the Kings. So do not overlook the Kings. I would even throw in just a small stack or even a 4-man stack of those players from Sacramento tonight just to be different. Memphis, Gasol, obviously at 7.2. We know he should have a good game. Conley at 6.7, I think, is one of my more favorite plays tonight. Selden Jr. got 22 minutes last game. He's 3.6. 3.6. Jaren Jackson Jr. at 5.4. Some nice value in that game. Like I said, those other than your high price Conley and Gasol, Selden Jr., Jaren Jackson, both of those guys fairly cheap. So I like that game. There's no line on it, obviously, but I like that game. So here's your main chalk. Here's your mega fucking chalk stack game of the night, and that's obviously going to be Washington and Golden State. But guys, This game could easily end up, with 260 points easily. It's going to be a back and forth. So you need to find some ways to play this game, but don't get crazy with it. Obviously, Steph, Curry, that's what you're going to be looking at for Golden State. There's no secret there. But they're fairly cheap. Durant 9.7, Curry 9.8. If you want to go cheaper, go Jerebko at 3.7. He's been getting really good run off the bench. That's really all I care about for Golden State. Those are going to, Curry and Durant. I say it every fucking pod. They're the guys. That's good. They're the ones that are going to get the ball the most. Clay is questionable. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's probable, though, so I'm not real sure about that. And, so Washington, you're going to go Wall. I like Porter. I think a nice cheapie is Kelly Oubre. Put up 35 fantasy points last game at 4.3K. He should definitely see run. I like Markeith at 5.7. He had a really nice game last game. He's been coming on strong. Porter had a really nice game last game. He's coming on strong, and we already know Wall. So that's where I'm at in that game. So I'm just going to run through my what I like so far, and it's quite a bit of list on both ways for my favorites and my values and punts. To round this thing out, DeAndre Jordan, Trae Young, Taurean Prince, Goran Dragic, Kyle Lowry, I really like. Kemba, I really like. Levine, Harden, obviously. DeMar DeRozan, Victor Oladipo, LMA, Giannis, obviously. Bledsoe, I really like. LBJ, obviously. Kuzma, obviously. Lonzo Ball should have a really good game. Devin Booker at 8.3. Find a way to get him in. Marc Gasol, Conley, John Wall, Otto Porter, KD, and Curry. So those are obviously my favorites. Yes, there's a lot of fucking studs in there. Get off my fucking back. I'm sorry. It's just one of those nights. Values and punts. Wes Matthews, Dwight Powell, Joe Harris, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dwayne Wade, Josh Okogie, Dan Green, Justin Holiday, Antonio Blakeney, Crowder, Eric Gordon, Gerald Green, Redick, Brogdon, Josh Hart, Trevor Ariza, TJ Warren, Wayne Selden Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr., Frank Mason, Buddy Hield, Bagley, Oubre, Markeith, and Jonas Jerebko. So, that's it. There you have it. Episode 4, Quick Bricks NBA DFS podcast, brought to you always, as you know, by the good guys over at thesportsagens.com. I will most definitely be in the SD Slack chat later this afternoon, breaking down even further onto what I like. This is just my first glance, guys. I give you what I like just from what I see in each game. Everybody said that they wanted to have a total pretty much breakdown of every game of who I like. So that's what I do. But to be flat out honest, once I get to the building process of my lineups, I start to narrow down a whole bunch. I'm not exactly sure how many lineups I'm going to play tonight. I made a little profit last night, so I might splash around, but I'm not sure. Anyways, if you're not in the SD Slack chat, I would definitely advise getting in. There's a lot to like tonight, and we're going to be chatting it up definitely hours before the game. So, with that said, I will talk to you guys this afternoon. Have a great Wednesday. See you guys later.